What's up, guys? I'm here with Gabe, and we are going to be commentating the top 8 of the Hell Tournament Series. This event was hosted by Guts, and we will be having The Kind versus Dinkabui, who is going to be playing. I think Dinkabui is playing Madolche, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I think both are playing Madolche. That's the the unusual part of this duel.
Madolche mirror match. We'll have to see how this goes down. I don't know what the mirror match is like for this deck. If I'm being honest, this is going to be interesting.
I think the problem of this deck is the fact that you cannot run a lot of hand traps, and I don't think Nibiru is run in this deck. And the one who's going first is gonna establish a big CA. So I don't know if Tinkabui, even if Madolche is really good going second, is gonna be able to play through so many cards. So we'll see.
Most Madolche builds now, they opt to go first anyway. I
Yep.
think what's gonna really make the mirror stand out in this is the fact that the field card, I don't remember what it's called, Madolche Chateau, I think it's called.
Yeah, Chateau.
It basically works if any Madolche monster on the field is returned. So I think
Mm,
you may actually be able to plus off of that, and that be maybe something interesting
true,
we'll see.
true, true. Also, for you guys to know, some, and when I say some, it's a lot of Madolche cards are French name. Like for example, the field spell Madolche Chateau mean Madolche Castle. So yeah, if you did not know that, it's it's a little info for you, little tip. Oh my
Is that why
goodness.
you hate this deck, just because it's all the names, or?
No, no, I don't hate this deck. Oh yeah, I hate this deck. Okay, uh, I've been exposed. I hate Madolche, guys. It's like I find it too. Sometimes it's gonna be too strong. Sometimes it's gonna be really bad. So yeah, I don't really like the deck. It's
I
too. I prefer to play against Rock, to be honest.
I can agree with you there. Playing against this deck, if the other player is really good, it's not a fun experience. It's really hard to break their board. They have a lot of interruptions, and they just randomly kill you for no reason. So I
Yeah.
can definitely get behind that.
Oh, playing Nibiru in that deck, but being able to protect one of his monster with his Glassouffle. I'm gonna say the names in French right now.
Yeah, his Glass Souffle or Glass Souffle is definitely going to stay on the field just because it is immune to monster effects when it activates its effect. I think he'll also be able to get a ticket and a salon resolved here, so that'll definitely be really good.
Yeah, is it a good idea to play Nibiru if you're going first with Madolche? Because you don't really want to tribute your field, do you?
I think it's not the worst thing just because you can protect your glass souffle or
Mm-hmm.
your hoot cake if you wanted to. And just because I feel like you have to run a beer in a meta like this to where it's still good
Yeah.
versus rock with another hand trap and the rocket deck and stuff like that.
Yeah, Rocket is not not playing really well against Nibiru around Nibiru. All
Yeah, not in
right.
this event. We know it can. We've definitely seen it still make decent boards even through Nibiru, but it does seem like Nibiru is definitely doing work against that deck.
All right. So now Ticket and Salon are resolving. So can you tell us more about that deck because you know it really well? What are the win condition?
Okay, so the win condition is basically he's going to try and make the what is it? I don't remember what it's called. It's the other XYZ. It basically shuffles 2 cards on the field
Oh yeah,
to the
I see
deck.
what you mean.
Yeah, it's he's going to
So
make that card, and that card's just going to basically OTK. The strategy of this deck is basically to set up a hard to kill board, and he's going to use the hard to kill board to then basically
survive.
assure that he lives the next turn. That way
Yeah.
he can set up the OTK.
So he's all about surviving the first turn, and then he's able to play his full potential by having a battle phase.
Agreed. It's a mid-range deck, but because of the new cards that Madolche has to its disposal, it definitely can go first and make some pretty disruptive boards.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's hope it's gonna activate.
Yeah, so what this will do is this will shuffle back in his Madolche cards, which will then proc the Ticket and the Salon. Ticket will allow him to special summon or add a Madolche monster from his deck to his hand, depending on if you have a fairy monster, which he does, so he can special summon if he wanted to. And then Salon will activate, setting a Madolche spell and trap, which we would assume would be the Promenade, but it could also be the field card as well. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, the field spell, as you said, looks like it's a really good card in the mirror because, as you said, it's when a Madolche monster shuffle. No, it says if a monster in your graveyard will be returned to the deck by the effect of a Madolche monster, you can add it to the hand, and it's Ticket who says any Madolche monster, I think.
Hmm.
Mm,
It's your side of the field either way, but that also means that his teacher doesn't work in the mirror. So I was mistaken about that. I
all
apologize.
right.
Um,
That doesn't really matter because it's still a really good card. If you have Ticket plus the castle, the chateau, it's a setup really hard to break for your opponent.
what this deck does so well is just net so much advantage. Like if you see the amount of cards he has just on his field right now, from
Hmm.
basically what one betting testing, I think that's what he opened. It's just really, really good.
Yeah, it's so much card advantage here, but it's not a lot of cards that interrupt the opponent, so you can get surprised sometime.
Right, and that's what Madolche is lacking in. When you see the boards that he's making, he only had one Omni Negation and one Graveyard Interruption, and it doesn't look like he had a whole lot less. I think is the main problem with a deck like Madolche. Here comes the Veiler, though. And the Veiler is going to hit the Mageline. The Mageline is, of course, it's Stratos for the deck. When it's normal summon, you can add a Madolche monster from your deck to your hand.
Yep.
We also see that he summoned the Pudding Cess off of the Petting Sisur, which means that he is going to be trying to go for the rank 5 XYZ, which is Chocolate a la mode.
A la
And
mode.
that card basically, a la mode, it basically says that every time you return a Madolche monster from your graveyard to the deck or hand, you can special summon a Madolche monster from your deck, which it's not once per turn, so he can
Yep.
definitely net a lot of advantage off of that.
I'm sorry, I was laughing because a la mode means fashion in French, so it's just like it's Madolche fashion, I think. Let me check what fashion means.
Yeah, I think that would mean that it's like
Um,
chocolate fashion, which is definitely very
yeah, it is. It's exactly that. It's Madolche, fashion Madolche. So yeah. All right. So now what? Because I think it's just when you get second in that matchup, even by having Nibiru, you're just not able to, because here it was Veiler, but he could use his trap card as well.
and that's the issue with Madolche is sometimes hand traps or one singular interruption just stops the deck in its tracks, and once a deck like this is going is where its strong point is. So
Yep, exactly. Sometime
we
really good, sometime really bad.
exactly. So the kind right here is going to be obviously in the winning position. We just see a good 10 card 10 cards that he has on the full board and in his hand, well comparative to uh Tinkabui's 6 cards. It's going to be very, very difficult. Now, of course, I was counting the Nibiru token, but even still, it's a lot of advantage.
How much attack has the Nibiru token?
I
Not that
believe
much.
they said it.
They said it? Yeah, 31, 31,000, 3,100.
Yep, and it does have 2100 defense, so if he wanted to change it to attack position, he definitely could here.
Not activating the field spell at the moment.
He's probably saving it for Choco a la mode, probably just because he can uh, trigger its effect again to make sure he gets an extra summon.
Mhm. Queen tiramisu here.
Right, so he's going to probably detach the card so that he can go ahead and shuffle 2 cards on the field back into the deck. He's gotta be careful. I think that it's possible that he may have another Nibiru here. I don't know if that'll win him the game, but it'll definitely help try to get him back into it.
Yeah, that is broken. To shuffle back in the deck, it should shuffle in the hand.
Yeah, it also doesn't target either. That's one of the, crazy things about Queen Tiramisu. This was the, card that I was talking about, the win condition here. It shuffles 2 cards on the field into the deck. It does not target. It also shuffles 2 Madolche cards from your graveyard to your hand, which triggers the ticket. We do see a Solemn Strike here that is going to be very big, because Madolche Pudding says was the attached material, he won't be able to go into, Chocolate Ella mode here, which is definitely something that it looked like he wanted to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna help him winning the game, but seeing that Madolche has to play Strike to be good is sad for them, I think, because it's like Strike is a card you will play in backrow deck or in decks um, that are not consistent enough to be able to play through hand traps, and you want to be able to set cards that have a lot of impact even if your combo doesn't get through. And Strike is a really good card for that. So yeah.
Something about Strike 2 that's also good, in this format, if you're going against, like, a big combo deck, a lot of players will add Strike to their deck, that way they can make sure they have a back row card such as, like, Goes and Match or something like that, and make sure that the Strike allows that card to resolve versus a combo deck. Especially versus something like Rocks, it's definitely can be very potent. But you are right, typically you don't see normal mid-range decks or, anything that's outside of control playing a card like this.
Mm, definitely. But yeah, the token is gonna be able to run over the Nibiru, and all the Madolche monsters are gonna gain 500 attack and defense because of the field spell. Now he's
This
gonna
will
be able to shuffle everything back.
this will also trigger the ticket and the salon, which will just net him further advantage.
Yeah, and that's what it's really strong, because if there wasn't a way to get back your monster in your main deck, you will just run out of engine really fast. But because your engine is so recursive, it's really good when it's going. So now we're gonna see him being able to either special summon or add one monster and set one spell or trap, and he's playing the counter trap that negates only the monster effect.
This card actually has another effect too. If you control a Madolche Puddingcess, you can shuffle one random card from your opponent's hand into the deck, which is a really strong and underrated effect. I'm not sure if it was the best card to play in this deck. There may be better, but it's definitely something that the Dinkabui has to keep in mind, is that he is playing that.
Yeah, also, the problem with that card is that you need to have no monster in your graveyard, but the Veiler is still here, so it's not usable at the moment. Maybe he's gonna have a way to get back Vader to his hand. You know, I think there's a way to get back hand traps to your hand with this engine.
What he's gonna do is he's gonna use the Hook Cake to banish the Veiler. That way that it's now usable, which will then be met with the
Hmm,
surrender.
yeah. Fair play from both of the players saying GG at the end of the game. Always say GG, guys. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it's really
really
interesting to see that it's there's a Madolche Miura in top 8, where, as you can see, because we told you yesterday, guys, there were a lot of rock players, a lot of Eddish synchro players, and not a lot of Madolche players, maybe 10 or something like that, and two of them are in top cut, so it's like it's a super ratio.
Yeah, and one of these players is definitely known, for being a good player as well, so to see something like this succeed, it's definitely something that maybe people can look into.
Yeah, it's a bad news for me because I really don't want to be playing against that deck, but one of them is gonna be at least at top 4. So we're gonna see which one of them.
We do see the Extravagance get met with an Ash here that is pretty big. I think every single time that Extravagance hits the field, you have to Ash.
Yeah, it depends. It depends. Sometimes you know that the engine your opponent is playing die to a single ash, so you may keep it just to not get punished. But here it seems like the kind has either another hand trap or he knows that ash is not enough. Okay, if you're breaking as well, you definitely want to try to ash extravagant.
We do see that both of them just set pass, which is very, very interesting. He goes ahead and summons the Messengelado, which if you guys play Madolche, you are aware that this card is the brick. You don't typically want to draw this card.
Messingelato. I think this is Italian. Alright, so attacking. So now it's okay. So it's gonna be a long game, I think.
So the kind
Another extravagance.
he activates his Extravagance here, and he sends it to the graveyard thinking that it may get interrupted, but it's met with an okay, so it resolves. At this point, you have to think that the kind probably has some sort of an engine piece right now. It's just probably worried about the back row.
And he's not shuffling his hand when drawing, so why would you set a card and then activate Lightning Storm?
Definitely a strange line of play. But he
Yeah.
did hit 2 Solemn Strikes, which is very, very good if he wants to resolve his combo.
Okay, so Zinka is in a weird spot right now. He needs to see something that makes him play. But the problem is that the kind has 3 set cards, and I don't understand what the set cards can be.
We do see a Hoot Cake hit the field. Hoot Cake is almost a starter, but you do need a monster card in your graveyard for it to do anything useful. So right now it's just a beater. He's going to try to play the beatdown game, and hopefully he can get out enough damage before
Uh-huh.
the kind can get to an engine.
Yeah, if the kind is not setting any monster here, he could die next turn, so we're gonna see the kind doing something for sure. Alright. Setting a monster, yeah. You need to set one at least to be safe.
Yeah, if you don't set a monster here, then you can be definitely in trouble. He drew the other brick. This is so unfortunate for Inkabui here.
He's able to go on an Xyz4 though and to put a monster in the graveyard for his hoot cook, hoot cake.
Yeah, his Hoot Cake. I do think that he definitely could be in a good position here, but depending on what the back row is that's set, we don't know.
Yeah, I don't really understand what kind of back rate can be because he was going second, but maybe he thought that Dinka would let him first, and then there can be some strikes and stuff in there. Okay, he's entering battle phase before, but yeah, that wasn't really smart, I think, because you know that it's an Ash Blossom.
Yeah, it would have to be an Ash Blossom or like a Veiler, but I think it's more likely that if he's setting a card and it's not a Madolche, it's
Yeah,
most likely going to be an Ash Blossom.
but
So,
if it's a Veiler, you wanna try to attack with the 3 monsters,
of course, what you
and if
would
it's
rather
an
have
Ash.
done is definitely set up for more damage here. I don't think going into the battle phase in either situation was correct, but we'll just have to see what goes on here.
Mm-hmm. So he needs to be careful about Nibiru as well, because that's the kind of card that the kind can have in his hand.
Yes, and we did see that Dinkabui was playing Nibiru, so it's very possible that the kind could be as well. We do see that in raw advantage, the kind definitely is ahead, but because of no engine pieces, we don't know if that really matters. If he can go ahead and resolve his combo here, he's going to be in a good position.
Yeah, the problem with that kind of spot is that it seems like Tinka is in a better spot because the kind has no engine pieces, but the card he has must be working with his engine. So at some point, the kind is gonna draw a card that is gonna unlock everything, you know.
Of
And
course, and
when it's gonna happen, he's gonna be above on the card advantage point.
Of course, so he's definitely on a time limit here, which is another reason why that battle phase was definitely not a play that I personally would have done. But he does summon the petting sister here, and if this petting goes through, he's going to be in a really good position.
Yeah, but still, keeping the battle phase, I think, was really was really important because, as I said, I think the way you will lose this game is because the guy is gonna draw something that is gonna unlock everything. So you wanna be able to kill him if possible this turn, and wasting his battle phase like that, even if it was a Valor set, you should wait a little bit more because as you can see here, he is able. If he had a battle phase, he would be able to kill the opponent. So yeah, I'm a bit sad about that.
I would agree with that as well. I do think that being aggressive in a situation like this is definitely something you should consider, just because he doesn't have any engine pieces, and as soon as he gets an engine piece, he has so many
Mm.
cards on you. Even when you plus, as Madolches do, he did draw the second Messengelato, and most Madolche builds only play two Messengelatos, so his ability to plus here is very limited.
Yeah. Also, we know that the kind is playing trap cards that are working with it with his engine, and also the set cards can be like a ticket or anything that could be a bluff, you know. And if he did set bluffs here, it worked a lot because it made Zinka attack before making his plays. So that's why sometimes setting cards that are doing nothing is still useful.
And we do see that he sets another card here, and he says in chat that that's a big F here. So it's it's a likely that he still is just drawing more of his Madolche spell and traps that he can't use. So we'll just have
Mm,
to see if Inkabui picks up the pace here and tries to push for game.
I still think I think we were wrong about how Dinka played because it seems like he wasn't able to put more damages on the field without committing to Nibiru. So maybe he just wanted to play around Nibiru a lot. But I don't know if he was able to put more damages on the field before entering the battle phase. It was still a mistake to go in battle phase before summoning every monsters.
I can
Alright,
agree
so
with that.
Perm.
So as we can see here, the Messenger Lotto then goes to the graveyard. So that way the teacher could shuffle it back, but it's met with the imperm, and the imperm's going to force it not be able to shuffle it back, so we can't get another spell and trap search here. But I think that's okay because he'll still be able to put that Messenger Lotto back into the deck once he gets Glass Souffle up. Not Glass Souffle. I'd never remember that other XYZ monster's name. It's the one that shuffles cards in the field of the deck.
Uh, Queen Tiramisu.
Tiramisu, yes, thank you.
Alright, so now he's gonna be able to resolve the pitching sister a second time. Oh, he prefers to go on the Xyz to still play around Nibiru again.
I definitely think that was the play for sure. He
Yeah.
can then use Tiramisu to shuffle two cards in the field back into the deck. We'll just have to see if the kind has another interruption here.
But then why would you use Angeli then? Because you can just do the Xyz for with Angeli.
Because Angeli was summoned off of the Petting Sensor, and Petting Sensor makes it lower, a level 1 lower. So
Oh,
it's actually a level 3.
okay. Interesting. Second impermanence, and but he did not use Hoodcake this turn, I think. So you still have Hoodcake if you wanna commit, but it's a I mean it can be a problem about Nibiru, but we'll see how Dinika tries to get rid of all the resources of the kind. Because now the kind is gonna be lower on resources even if he draws something. Yeah, yeah. Showing to you guys what he had. And he had nothing in 10 cards. More than 10 cards. Yeah.
And he was not going to be
Okay,
drawing anything either, which is very unfortunate for the kind.
yeah,
Um,
that's really unfortunate what just happened here. But the deck is breaking, that's a fact, so it's just not the timing to break. It's okay, it's 1-1. Everything can happen still. What are you citing in the mirror?
I think Nibiru is still good just to make sure they don't go into full combo. A full combo with Madolche is obviously the Chocolate Alum mode, which then special summons up to 3 monsters from your deck, which is just an insane amount of advantage. I think that you still want to make sure that they don't go into anything crazy, and you keep the Nibiru just to make sure that they can't. But I do think that you're looking for your evenly matched, your lightning storms, your back row removal, because their main disruption comes from the back row, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's also another reason to keep when you go first to keep hand traps because your opponent's gonna be siding in Heavenlies and Lightning Storm. But if you have a hand trap in your hand, it's more likely gonna be enough.
Exactly. He does come down with the Imperm on the Pet Sister here. That's going to be definitely huge. Petting is just a free summon. However, because he started with the petting, it's likely that he has something like this, which is Angeli, which means he can still play if he doesn't get met with an interruption here.
So here, an Ash Blossom would be the end of the world. But it seems like he doesn't have it, and now Hoot Hoot is gonna be able to resolve by banishing Anjali.
So now
So
the
he's
question
gonna,
is,
yeah.
does he have Nibiru or does he just do the normal play?
I mean, do you imperm the petting sister if you have Nibiru? I don't know. So that's the question that the kind should try to answer before going into his plays. Is my opponent gonna impair my betting sister if he has Nibiru? And it's still
Definitely.
playing around Nibiru pretty well, to be honest.
I think you're right there as well. I think that you probably save the Imperm for the Nibiru on the Glass Souffle, and he's going to go ahead and use this in the end phase, that way it doesn't get Veilered, and then he's going to get a Search off of Salon. Definitely good play around.
Okay, so and because he has the monster in the graveyard, the counter trap we saw at the first game is alive. So the set card we don't know can be this counter trap. The extravagance is activated. Chained with Glass Souffle and then chained with the Promenade.
This will allow him to add the Pedestin Sword from his graveyard back to his hand, which will then trigger the Salon as well. This is a really good line of play for the kind here.
Yep, definitely. And Hoot Hoot is gonna stay on the field. Alright, so it seems like Dinka is not really happy about that.
And also, Hookcake is unable to be destroyed by battle because it was summoned off of Angeli, so it is not only unable to be destroyed by battle, but is unaffected by monster effects as well. So it's definitely going
Yeah,
to be a hard thing for him to get rid of.
it's
Hookcake
definitely beyond the field forever.
yep. Hookcake just nets so much advantage too, so we'll just have to see how this
Cyclone
goes.
Salon, or maybe on the set card, and it's oh, that is huge. That is a huge play. He started getting extravagance with his Cyclone. So extravagance can resolve, but it also tells us that Din Kabui's hand is really bad. And because it doesn't negate, it doesn't shuffle back. Yeah. So that's awesome because now the trap card that could be the okay, so it wasn't, but it could have been the counter trap could not be activated because Petting Sister was still in the graveyard.
It was definitely a good play around. There are two different Madolche counter traps. One negates spell and traps, and one negates monster effects. So him playing around the one that negates spell and traps was definitely a good play here.
And now if he has some engine pieces, he's still gonna be able to play. But the problem is, as we said, even by siding in cards like Storm and Cyclone, the deck is dying to some hand traps. So if the kind has Nibiru, for example, it will be a shame because Hoot Hoot is gonna stay on the field and Nibiru is gonna resolve. So I don't think Dinka is able to beat Nibiru here.
Exactly, and there's also going to make sure that there is a monster in the graveyard if Yunibir is here. If Yunibir's Class of Flea goes to the graveyard, he also still has petting. So either way, Hootcake will have a target. So unless he has some sort of a spell and trap to negate the Hootcake, this is a bad situation. So I think he has to turbo out the hook cake himself and make sure that he gets his spell and trap card that negates monster effects or negates card effects.
And he has
The
it. He has
promenade.
the Hutut directly from his hand. Additional normal summon. Why additional? Oh yeah, because it's the additional always. Alright. So now Angeli resolving. Special summoning Messangelato. Messangelato can add one spell or trap, and it's the fourth summon, so the next play should be Glassouffle to play around Nibiru, right?
Correct. I think that would be the play that he wants to do here, just to make sure that he can keep advantage. He's not getting rid of the hoop cake, and unfortunately, the glass souffle doesn't really do anything um, without any XYZ materials. It can shuffle cards back into the deck if a Madolche card is sent to the graveyard, but it's not very common that a Madolche card gets sent to the graveyard just because of the effect that they get shuffled back into the deck.
Yeah. For example, the kind keeping impermanence in that matchup means he has Vader in his main is in his deck still because I will not keep impermanence in that matchup. I will definitely side it out to put more hand traps. But maybe he did put all the hand traps he could. Uh, the kind seems like he has nothing more.
Yeah, so he decided to tell him that he doesn't have anything, which I'm not a fan of personally. I feel like you should pretend like you have everything even if you have nothing. Just a better way
Yeah,
to play.
don't do that against players like Dinkabwe. He's obviously gonna take advantage from that, and that's normal. So Chateau is added. Yeah, I don't see how the kind can be in a good spot here. Without that, maybe he had a hand trap because he had two cards in his hand, but it seems like it's breaks or I don't know.
We do know he will be surviving this turn, but the amount of advantage that Dinkabui is just going to net off of everything that he has right here is definitely going to be massive. We'll just have to see how he plays this.
Yeah, from three cards, he's now having six, with one being an Xyz monster. Hoot is protected. Exactly. Hoot is protected by battle because it has been summoned by Angeli. Right?
Right. And looking at So as well, all Madolche monsters on the field gain 500 attack, including the kinds. So him going into the battle phase here was, I think he's doing this to play around the Veiler.
Yeah, to play around Nibiru plus Vader maybe. Because Vader on its own is not doing anything.
I don't know if I would have done that just because the kind already said that he doesn't have any plays, so very interesting.
Yeah, maybe he's just not. I mean, it has no. You can't lie about the info you're giving to your opponent, but still, Zinka can. I think he can win by playing around everything. So you still should do it.
Agreed. There's no reason not to, especially if this is the play that he was probably going to do anyway. You might as well just do it as optimally as possible.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So now Salon and Ticket are resolving. The guy is still alive. That's that's the only good point we can find here.
Yeah, but we do see that the promenade is going to be hitting the field, which is going to be the way that he's going to negate the hook cake on
Yeah,
the next turn.
yeah. Can that deck run the Utopia package?
Gonna run what?
The Utopia double.
It can run the Utopia double, but the thing is, if you run the Utopia double package, you have to not use Petty Sincere's effect. Petty Sincere will lock you into Madolches if you
Mm-hmm.
use its effect to special summon.
Didn't I still have a normal summon, so that's a shame. And also, I'm just really worried about how the kind can win that game. And the only thing I found with the card he will have will be to try to bait the negates and go on Utopia double, but it seems like he's not playing it, so
Right, it's definitely an awkward card to go into. You see more players run like a Link 4, such as Royal Sword or Access Code, something like along those lines. We'll just have to see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So two set cards. And the guy is putting his monsters in attack position before going into his plays.
I'm not a fan of that either. I mean, obviously, you're not gonna see too much main deck Book of Moons, but you never know, and it's always good to play around cards like that. Here comes the Call by the Grave. This is huge because the Angeli was really important for his plays to go off here.
Yeah. And he shows that he drew really garbage 2 times in a row. That's unfortunate, but that's what we said. Sometimes the game is gonna be. Sometimes the deck is gonna be awesome. Sometimes it's gonna be a little bit bricky, a little bit weak. So yeah, but still a Madolche in top 4 anyway. So that's a really good thing. And yeah, do you have something to add about that game?
That game was very, very hand dependent. We didn't get to see a lot of cool interactions for stuff that you would only see in the mirror, so that is unfortunate. It was
Hmm.
basically who drew the better hand, and is what
Yeah,
it
we
is.
saw we saw Dinka playing around Nibiru a lot game 2, which was a really great thing because otherwise maybe he would lose this one. So yeah, still a great game. Madolche Mirror in top cut, you're not gonna see it every time. But yeah, so we're gonna see if we can find another game, or maybe not because it's only 10 minutes ago, 10 minutes away from the time. So we're gonna see you in next round, guy. It's gonna be top 4. Uh, stay tuned. See you.